Good morning, you guys. We are at Aquascape, and there's Willow. Hi, Willow. Hi, baby. Who's a good girl?
So Tim said he's been dealing with you for 20 years.
That's about how long we've been working together.
That's a long time. Well, welcome to Aqualand. Nice to meet Blaine and Alex for the first
Oh, yeah,
time.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I met
Greg,
them,
Blaine, Alex, I'm sorry.
We all petted the iguana.
Oh, okay. Whatever that means.
And I got some...
I don't want a demonstration, let's just say that. And you don't need to hold your arms out like this when you do it either, Blaine. I got a confession to make to you guys. Some of the videos I make are to get views because I need you guys to watch my videos so that YouTube can pay me enough so that I can continue to make more videos. But the goal of this channel when I originally started was to help you guys break free from the trap, the daily grind of whatever job you're in that you're not happy, that you don't feel satisfied, that just isn't fulfilling you. You see, I love what I do, but it's not easy to make a living doing what I do. So I look for different ways inside of the green industry that can maybe help some of you guys get the life that you really want. And one of the videos I made a while back was on installing ponds, and I went to Aquascape, and to this day, that's been years ago, to this day I get so many guys walking up to me and shaking my hand and saying thank you because they watched that video and then they took the steps to start to go to Aquascape Academy to learn how to install ponds. That has absolutely changed their lives. It's transformed everything they did. I had one guy that was making $100,000 a year selling cars, and he came up to me and he says, I would look out the window and I would see the world going by, and I was scared to try to make that step because I was making so much money. He said, then I just went for it. I realized that my life was not, I wasn't going to get my life back. So I followed your steps and I went to Aquascape Academy. I took the training that they offer, and he says, I have never been happier. I now have 5 guys working for me, and I'm making even more money than I was when I was selling cars. And it's that story and stories like that that inspire me to make these videos to help you guys get your life in the direction that you want to go. And that's what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to make another video on the Aquascape Academy, not because they're paying me, because they've never paid me a dime, but because you guys walk up and shake my hand and say thank you. And that's going to be the goal of this video. And if you guys are on the fence and you don't know what to do and you just want information, you let me know if a video like this helps you out after you're done watching it. Can I sit up here? Are these saved?
Anywhere you want to sit.
Okay.
Yeah. So, for my first 16 years in business, everything I touched turned to gold, right? Now, do you notice when that chart stops? What year? 2007. Does anybody remember 2008? No. Remember what I just said? Whatever business it is going to have this same exact type of a trajectory or a model. The first stage is hands-on. So the hands-on stage is where you're actually in the trenches building the ponds. How many people in here are physically doing the work? I'm going to guess it's the majority of you, right? You're physically working in the thing. That's the majority of businesses in America. The second stage is the hardest of the 4 stages in business. The second stage is working with others. Why is this stage the hardest stage in business?
Other people are involved.
Because other people are involved, employees, right? And you've got to get what's in your mind into somebody else's mind. Is that a challenge? Yes. That's a huge challenge, okay? And the famous phrase that all business owners like to say is, if I want it done right, I should do it myself. Good. And you're going to always be in the trenches. Right. And by the way, that's okay if that's what you want. But this is the thing that I asked myself basically ever since I started my business. Very soon after my second year, when I had to hire other people to run things, I said, this is a brilliant question, by the way, is this the job of a CEO? Is this the job of a CEO to be building the ponds? And my answer to that was no, that's the job of a foreman. is this the job of a CEO to be selling ponds? And my answer to that was, no, that's the job of a salesperson. Is this the job of a CEO to be designing and laying out a catalog? That's the last job I had here in 2000. And whose job is that I answer? A graphic designer, right? So I worked my way out of every job in this business to eventually I don't have a job. And instead, every single day, when I get my ass busy doing stuff, I'm working on the business and not. And I got out of the way of a guy that was right behind me that was a much differently wired guy. I gave him a rope, and what did Ed do? And then he got out of the way, and who went right behind Ed? Brian. And then Brian gets out of the way, and then Chris. And then Chris gets out of the way, talking on a mic, and second-year teammate Jack is going to be leading a construction for you guys all day.
Talking about building his team.
Could you do that if you're doing everything yourself? Now, I am not criticizing people that want to be in the trenches, but here's what I figured out very early on. I can make so much money with my own two hands, I can double it if I use somebody else's hands. But you better have systems, which is the third part of the business, in place. If you don't have systems for people to follow, then it's going to get f***ed up. And then it's going to come back, and then you're going to complain about things, and whose fault is it for lacking the systems? So what's the Aquascape system? 20 products, 20 steps. Follow the plan, stand. When I think water features, that's how I think. Ben and Jerry, okay? Donald Trump. When I think water features, I think cookie cutter assembly line. How's that sound to custom one-of-a-kind landscape designers and artists? Cookie cutter assembly line. Not good, right? But because I have a systems in place, a set 20 products and 20 steps, I can control the end result. And every water feature, even though it's built the same way with the same products, is every water feature unique, work of art, one-of-a-kind custom creation? It's a different setting every time. Even though I use the same 3 types of rock, what types of rocks do I use? No one ever gets this right. What type of rocks do I use?
Weathered limestone.
Yes, but that's not what I'm asking. I use good, better, and best.
Yes.
Granite is the good, better is weathered limestone, best is bluestone. Those are the 3 types I want. If a customer says, build me a pond out of this type of rock because I got it left over from the project, I dug it up and it was on my property, what do I say?
No.
That's not what we do. Remember the first rule of business?
Give them what they want.
Is it hard to build with different types of rock and make it look good if you never used that kind of rock before? By the way, when I leave this pond, it's got to say 2 things. It's got to be the Joneses pond and it's got to be the Aquascape pond. It's got to be ABC Landscapes pond. And if you give the customer what they ask for and they ask you for a 5-foot-high waterfall in a flat backyard and it looks like a volcano spewing lava, because it will, it's your pond too that's represented. And if you're in this business long enough, somebody's going to ask you to make water flow off the roof. And when it leaks on the kitchen table, whose ass is in the sling to fix it? Don't give a customer what they ask for, give them what they want. Oh, and by the way, because my guys are trained, Jack, 2-year teammate, because they're trained in a set methodology, what do they spend all their time working on? Instead of figuring out what size pump, what kind of plumbing, what size filters, what do they spend their time thinking about? The creativity, right? How to do it. Because they're going through the motions on the logistics, the assembly line, cookie cutter process, and it opens up their freedom. So if you're a hands-on guy and you adopt systems and you can get employees to work for you, and the last part, and this is where Aquascape really comes in and why you guys are even here today, the last part of the 4 stages of all business is strategic.
This next part is one of my favorite parts. Greg goes through industry standards, not things that he came up with, but what the industry is saying that guys inside the industry are making on an average per hour basis. And you're about to see that a pond installer makes up to $253 an hour. And all of you guys out there making tall grass short are making closer to $26 an hour. Almost 10 times more per hour. And it's not because the pond installers have more skills, because they don't. They've actually refined and used a system that allows them to just come into place and get everything nailed down, almost to the point where they're not even thinking. Kind of like when you're cutting grass and you put on your headphones and you listen to a podcast. When you're installing a pond, you've got a system in place where you're not worried about all of the minutia and the details because you've already worked through it, and you're now building a pond off muscle memory. But I'm gonna let Greg actually show you some of those different stats, because this is my favorite part of his whole presentation. All right, let's do that now.
Oh my God, that's small. Okay, I'll read it to you. All right, so the 4 categories are design build, commercial maintenance, residential maintenance, and residential maintenance including irrigation. So design build, commercial maintenance, residential, and irrigation. Of the number of survey customers, 326 contractors, 479 and 529. They found out for design build, it was the highest profit margin of any of the companies. It was $51 per man hour. This is a couple years old, so let's say it's $60, $70 per man hour now.
What does design build mean, Greg?
Full service operation. So building hardscapes, softscapes, and maybe even waterscapes a little bit in there, but I'm going to tell you the difference between a waterscape from a contractor that dabbles in it and a full-time pond builder. The commercial maintenance, as you would imagine, is the lowest because it's supply and demand commodities. A few years ago, it was 36 bucks per man hour return on investment. Okay, I'd say it's probably 10 bucks more than that. Let's say $46 now. And then residential maintenance is a little bit higher than commercial maintenance at 40 bucks per man hour. That is the average return based on the survey of 326, 479, and 529 industry associates through Planet, our industry organization.
Commercial maintenance and residential maintenance is your mow and blow guys, right?
Yep, your mow and blow guys. Commercial, residential, and then full service landscape design build firm.
Design build's $51 an hour.
Yep. Which is
Commercial maintenance is 36.
Yep, and this is a couple years ago, so it might be 60 bucks an hour now.
And residential is 40, and this is based off of what?
This is based off of a survey of Planet members, our industry trade organization, on what their cost per unit, the return on each man hour is going to be.
Okay.
That's what this is. Compare these to our actual numbers 3 years ago from our construction department. Aquascape's custom crew did $241 per man hour. Our standard installation crew did $262 per man hour. All of Aquascape's averaged $246 per man hour, and our maintenance division did $142 or $152. Which business do you want to be in? Why is this? Look at those discrepancies in those numbers. Look at this is the industry, this is Aquascape. This is what happens when you can get into a niche category. Here is the problem with landscape contractors that attempt water features. They get a call from a consumer and it says, I would like a backyard habitat, a living area. I want a patio, some plant material, and maybe the sound of water. And a typical landscape contractor that does 90% of his work is hardscapes and softscapes, and he dabbles maybe 10% in waterscapes, will go out to that customer, and let's say the customer tells him I've got a $10,000 budget, and that landscape contractor will design a $6,000 patio, $3,000 in perennial plants, and put a $1,000 preformed pond that sits in the corner, leaks, turns green, breeds mosquitoes, and has all the fish eaten by raccoons. And that $1,000 preformed tub that sits in the corner, leaks, turns green, breeds mosquitoes, and has all the fish eaten by raccoons will cause more hassle for that landscape contractor than the other $9,000 in landscaping combined. True or false? True. And then they meet the pond guy at the Green Industry Expo and they say, ponds suck, you can't make money from it. And I go, oh really? What's the difference? The difference is every single water feature they build is different. They don't follow a set system. When they put a patio in, they put the screenings down and the pavers on top of it. When they put a pond in, they give a customer a 5-foot high waterfall. They make water flow off a roof. They give the customer what they ask for instead of what they want, a natural water feature. And they don't make money with water features. And then they look at me as a pond guy and they said, you can't make money with water features. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? You're not following the plan, Stan. You're not a franchise owner. You're not keeping it simple, stupid. You're giving the customer what they ask for. You're not following a system. And I get 60, 70 people coming to my academy and the rest of them say, I'd rather mow lawn for 40 bucks an hour. And I go, what the hell is wrong with this? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't make money compared to what you guys charge, but I want you to be successful in business. These are the actual numbers. I didn't make up these numbers. These came from Planet. this is our actual numbers of our construction crew. That's what they do, our maintenance crew. And by the way, does it end there? No, because here's the big epiphany. How many guys in here are mow and blow guys or full service landscape contractor design build? Show of hands, I'd like to see this. Okay, at least half of you in here are already in this business. This is a huge statement that I'm gonna make, but go ahead and argue with me, bring it, I want it. Water features are the only form of landscape design that cannot stand alone. It's the only form. You can put a patio in and be done. You can put plant material in and be done. You can put in a lighting and be done. You put in a water garden, you need aquatic plants. You need terrestrial plants around it. You need a patio next to it. You get bit by a mosquito, you put it in a gazebo. Now take that same $10,000 budget that customer gave you that said, I want a backyard living area and I want the sound of water. And instead of putting in a $6,000 patio, $3,000 in landscaping, and a $1,000 preformed tub that sits in the corner, leaks, turns green, breeds mosquitoes, and has all fishing by raccoons. You think I've said that a lot?
A few times.
And take that same $10,000 budget, put it in a $4,000 or $5,000 patio, $3,000 or $4,000 in landscaping, and watch as that same $10,000 budget becomes $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 over the next 2, 3, or 4 years as they are outside and they want a gazebo, as they want to expand the patio, as they want to make the water feature bigger. Water features are the only form of landscaping that sell future work. They can't stand alone. I don't do that work. I am the pond guy. We build ponds, we build fountains, we build pondless waterfalls. How did I figure this out? That a water feature sold the future work.
Time.
Doing it.
Getting calls for referrals and your customers constantly call you back?
I would stop out at a pond, $10,000 pond that I put in 2 or 3 years ago, and I would see $20,000 of additional landscaping that wasn't there when I put the pond in. Because they've expanded the patio, because they've added a gazebo, because they've added lighting. If you take that same $10,000 budget and make the water feature the big part, it'll expand the future revenue because it's the only form of landscaping that can't stand alone. Okay? All of these things are that's what we call the revenue ecosystem. Hardscapes, lighting, maintenance. Our maintenance division does over $1 million a year. An average clean out that we're doing is $900. It takes 2 guys and a power washer 2 hours to do 4 man-hours to do a clean out, a typical pond clean out. Can you make that kind of money cutting lawns? I had an aquarium in my house, and I paid more money for the aquarium guy to come service the aquarium every other week than I did for the contractor with 4 guys to come and mow my 4 acres of lawn. 160-gallon aquarium, 1 guy, and 4 guys to cut my 4 acres of lawn. The guy, it's a niche category. So I'm not saying to anybody in here, stop mowing and blowing. I'm not saying to anybody in here to stop doing patios and everything else. I'm saying when you prioritize water features, you sell the need for future work. That's how this works.
Okay, Greg, I want to read you a message. Now it starts, me and this guy were talking about Boss back blades, okay? So this is how the text, he texts me, I'm going with Boss because he wanted to know what back blade to buy. I'm going with Boss, thanks man. Thanks for inspiring me. You suggested I go into ponds 3 years ago. I'm going to break 1.5 million this year in business and might not have done it without you.
Wow.
Especially not this fast with 0 experience.
Amen. Well, he listened, right? He was open to learning, and who is it?
I don't even know. I don't even know. I mean, he just kind of randomly starts texting me, which is cool. I mean, I love my, I love the guys and audience and sharing. But
this is why I'm not in Utah skiing right now, because who knows when someone's going to take it and run with it,
Right.
And the greatest satisfaction in life, as you know, that comes from helping someone else reach their fullest potential.
Absolutely.
So when someone takes the advice and they have success, it just reaffirms your philosophies, and of course, you get more pride from somebody else's accomplishments than your own.
I love you guys, and I love hearing how you guys were able to create your own success stories. Now, a couple things that I think questions may have come up when you were listening to Greg. He mentioned franchise. He doesn't sell a franchise. He has nothing to do with a franchise fee. The way Greg's model works is He provides you all of the training. He makes sure he then certifies that you're an Aquascape certified contractor, meaning that he makes sure that you know how to actually go out and use the systems that he trains you guys to use. And then where Greg blew his company up is he developed the products. He went through all of the hard work trying to figure out what kind of pond filter do you need. And they didn't sell the pond filters. So he built his own pond filters. And what kind of tubing and what kind of overflow and what kind of pumps. And what's the fastest way to assemble these ponds in a cookie cutter fashion. He went through all of that when he was building his company, and he built all of these products for himself. And then he had this aha moment like Greg tends to do. And he's like, wait a minute. I can make money selling my products to guys, but they gotta know how to use those products. And if I teach the guys how to use those products at the same time, I can teach them how to build a business, a really super successful business. So he doesn't charge you to become an Aquascape certified contractor. He wants you to succeed. He wants you to install $1 million, $2 million, $10 million in ponds every single year, because then you're buying his ponds, using his kits, and it's a win-win situation. A rising tide raises all ships. And I have never seen any more people become more successful in any other niche in my entire life than I've seen with the guys that go through the Aquascape Academy's training. And again, he's not paying me to say this. He doesn't know I'm doing this video. I'm doing this video because you guys walk up to me with your success stories, and that's the reason I started this channel in the first place. I hope this video has helped you guys out. If it has, will you please give me a like? Please give me a comment. Please tell me what you think of them. That's all I got for you on this one, you guys. God bless. Go get them, you guys. Catch you on the next one.
I flew a drone in here. Crashed. No, I hit everything. Oh yeah, I broke that son of a duck right away. I was like, I'm gonna get some cool factory shots. Crunch. That lasted real long. Nobody saw that footage.
Yeah, man. Every time I see you fly a drone, every time I've seen it come out too. I've always waiting for it to fall.
It just kind of crashes to the ground on its own.
I was running the front end loader out at the church, and it's the first time I remember you flying a drone. All of a sudden, I spin in the pile, and I run right into his drone. I'm like, oh no! Crash and burn every time.
Hey guys, these are the ingredients right here. So this is it. This is how they count all of the boulders for every installation. Here's the plants. Here's the whole kit and caboodle. Let's go see what. Chris, what kind of rock is this? How many pounds of this do you use? How many pounds of this do you use? Can you just kind of walk us through the ingredient list here?
Yeah, 100%.
What is your complete material cost? Kit, rock, everything.
I would say $2,000 would be your all-in cost, and that's cost of labor and everything too.
Oh, that's with labor?
Yep.
Okay.
$2,000 to $2,200.
So you're talking about 60% profit margin in that neck of the woods?
So when we do the mat, normally when we show a class, we normally put that at around $1,500, about $200 for the plants, rock, and about $250 in labor. So if you sell that for $39.99, you're still making about a 65% profit.
$39.99?
Yeah.
Not $4,800?
$39.99, depends on the market where you are.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you what we would sell for.
Yeah.
Here in our area.
Oh, right in Illinois, right here. Right in St. Charles, Illinois. Okay.
And install this would be about $4,800.
Okay.
So what Chris is talking about is they can do a fountain in a couple hours and still have almost a 65% profit margin, or bring in a couple $1,000s, and they do an average of 2 of those a day. But I wanted to hear about the big dollars, the pond installs, and what they're able to accomplish with that. So that's what I asked him next.
We were about $11,500 a day per crew, or for the construction crew, to earn in revenue every day.
For a 5-man crew?
For a 5-man crew.
And you did that every day for how many days?
On average, for about 130 days, we did.
130 days. $11,500 per day.
Yes.
For 130 some days in a row.
Yes.
I just want to make sure, because those are some incredible. Yeah.
And trust us, people look at us like we're crazy because of when we work, but we do. You know, well, some days it'll average out where we'll only do $9,000 in a day if it's a smaller project.
Oh, only
But then
nine,
But then we
okay.
average out with a $13,000 job the next day, right? So it ends up being, you know, anywhere from 1.2 to 1.3 million a year in revenue that we generate as a unit.
In a half a year.
What's that?
In a half a year.
Half a year. But
Yeah.
for us, it's our season, right?
Yeah.
So when you go to an Aquascape Training Academy, they walk you through the pricing, what they charge for materials, what you can charge for a job, where your profit margins are, and this isn't just in theory, this is what these guys, they're using the actual numbers from their actual company that they've actually achieved. And some of these profit margins, $11,500 per day in profit for a 4-man crew, and he did it 137 days in a row. This is the real thing, you guys. And they will teach you, they don't just teach you like, oh, all of these numbers, then they actually do the hands-on part of the training, meaning that they actually expect you to build a pond. There, you can be there and build the pond, getting your hands dirty and your feet wet and a pond done before you leave. So you walk out the door knowing your numbers, you walk out the door with your first chance of ever building a pond with their professional team. It's freaking incredible. It's freaking incredible.
What's the size of this and what's the value of this pond?
Is this an 8? This is bigger than an 8 by 11.
9 by 12, yeah, but it's got a 6.
9 by 12, you said?
Yeah.
9 by 12 pond. And did you figure out the selling price for this, Chris?
You're just north of 15.
Because I just said 15.
Oh, did you say 15?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get that. No.
Yeah, 15 grand I sell this for. 9 foot by 12 foot. And this will be done in 40 to probably 50 man hours because of the big rocks that they use. So 5 guys, 10 hour day. Hey, how about it? 17-inch waterfall.
And the fact that it's an 18-inch waterfall isn't as impressive as the fact that it's $15,000 and it took them 1 day to put it in. I like those numbers. Alex is gonna put his mouth where his money is? Money where your mouth is? You're gonna climb a rope. Let's just say that. Yeah, no, you wanna put money on it.
Hey, I already did.
Tim, how much money are you gonna bet him?
I don't know. I think he should make a bet with you, though.
Yeah, I think
you
you should. All right, Alex, gonna make a bet with Tim.
Didn't you want to go to the gas station?
Yeah,
or
I need to
something?
borrow your truck to go to the gas station if I can get up there.
If you can get up. I don't know if you can, though.
Oh, I think there's a bell that you gotta ring up there.
Oh, yeah. I would go through the roof, but it's now my place of damaging.
Oh, okay, okay.
Sorry to say, but
You gotta keep your coat on too. And Tim gets the hang from your legs. No, seriously,
Yeah.
you're gonna climb that flat on your butt. Oh, ow. My muscles hurt just looking at that. Oh my God. Oh, I think I hear a cold cut sandwich calling me. I would do it, but I gotta go eat.